Great. All right, something must have kicked me off. All right, so let's move on to the next slide here. This is going to be our agenda for today. All right, we're going to talk about the market recap. I keep saying we because I'm used to having a sidekick, but I'm going to talk about the market recap. And then, like I said, we are going to spend some time on our Holly recap. And I'm going to talk today because I was really impressed with the risk off today. And I think you need to focus on that because it's always good to see the risk off, improving. And I've been noticing it improving each day. And that means that Holly, our artificial intelligence, is learning, and the risk parameters, profit save, etc., are getting better and better. So anyway, we'll talk about that. Trade of the week echo, that did not trigger. We will go into that, look at the setup, at what Steve and I were looking at. I do get with him pretty much every Saturday and to kind of go through these. And then I'm going to show you how you can take our new score filter, okay, and look for weaker stocks that, maybe it's not something you want to care about right now, but when the market does turn, eventually, if it ever does, it'd be nice to have in your arsenal, a little window where you can find the really non-performing stocks. So, if you're into shorting. All right, so let me back out of this and let me dive into the market recap. And here we go. And this is what we all always look at first, is the good old spiders. And just because it comprises of 500 stocks and it's fairly weighted. It's not like diamonds only have 30 stocks. But anyway, wow, it's once again setting up, no bearish case to be made. It's really setting up pretty nicely. It tried to go tickle this high. Don't think it quite made it there today, as we draw a little horizontal line using our Trade Ideas markup feature. And there you have it. We got close today, but we could not go and tickle that. So what does that mean? Not a whole lot. I mean, no way you can sit there and say, whoops, double top. No, let's see what happens after a week or so. It looks, like I said, there's no bearish case. We're sitting right under all the moving averages, right above them, real close to the all-time highs, going back last month, and more than likely we're going to probably test that. But it's just kind of just grinding higher now. That obviously this is not any type of euphoric bullish move. Maybe in the longer term, looking at how far we've come over the last 9 years, maybe somebody would classify this as euphoric, but definitely not seeing it in the rush to have to buy stocks and extended long moves, green bars. This is more of just over the last few months, kind of just a grind, methodical move higher. Let's take a look at the Qs now. I don't think, now they're not performing as well. And of course, a lot of social media stocks has a lot to do with that. You look at Facebook, Twitter, Google, there's a lot of those that just kind of been giving it back over the last few months, and this is definitely looking at their weighting in that index. It's definitely going to affect and maybe keep this from going to highs. It's going to be real hard for the Qs to keep going to highs when you have Facebook. Of course, you got Apple and Amazon that are well, even Apple's not doing all that great right now. And yeah, you don't get these moving higher, you're not going to get the Qs because of the weighting, the balance. Diamonds. Now, if you're looking one that's been outperforming over the last, say, 2 or 3 weeks, you got to look at the diamonds. And it's already taken out its last month high, unlike the spiders. So looks like people may be looking at some value stuff here lately. I mentioned last week that, good chance we're going to go test this high like the other averages have done this year. Dow is definitely the last one to do so. So we'll see if maybe this doesn't take the baton and lead the market higher, but this is definitely the one that's showing relative strength right now. You can see there, as compared to, you know, the other sectors, the IWM, the Qs, and spiders are not far behind, but still haven't taken out last month's high. So I'm not, you know, like I said, it's not a whole lot we can talk about this. I mean, it's a bearish and it's a bullish tape. We're above all the moving averages, except in some of the IWM and Qs are below some of theirs. But for the most part, yeah, just not a whole lot to say if you're a bear. You know, good things to say about this tape. So I'm going to leave it at that, and we are going to move on to Holly. But before I do, I'm going to get a drink of water here. All right, so let's take a look at what we have today. We have 3 sectors all up pretty nice today. Not a whole lot of trades either. You can see the trade counts over here, 15, 11, 18. That's probably about average, a little below average, but nonetheless, not a lot of trades, and you can see some nice profits made in each one of these. But I want you to look here in Holly Grail. I mean, we had a market that was pretty much a little bit of a gap up and then moved higher all day. So, but risk off outperformed risk on in this one and also in this one. So that to me was interesting, and not only that, it's exciting to see. Anytime you start seeing risk off graphs that look like this, these histograms, that's real encouraging. It's much better than when you start getting the back and forth. That's when it makes it hard on traders. So what it tells me is, like I mentioned earlier, that Holly's risk parameters, her profit save, of course timed exit, you can't do anything about that, but they are getting better. So we will keep an eye on this over time. This is Holly Neo. One other thing I wanted to point out in Neo today, guys, if you looked at the market, it was a gap up, and then we had a sudden move up. I was noticing there wasn't a lot of activity going on. Let me put this on entry time. And one more time. There we go. And then in Holly Neo at around 9:15, you had bam, 1, 2, 3, 4 within basically a 30-second time frame that all went off on the long side. So that was encouraging, because this is what we had to work with, right? You know, at this point, you know, we had a market that went up, but then we had just kind of a little inside red bar there. Then we tried to sell off, and then all of a sudden these trades started coming through, and then what we have is kind of a red bar ignored, even though officially with using our technology it's not actually a red bar ignored, because you have to have 4 green bars in a row, but still that red bar was definitely ignored and the market moved higher. Up until that point, there was a couple of shorts that went off, just one here in Neo, and I think we had another couple more there. But predominantly, it was a huge percentage of all longs going off. Even though we had plenty of shorts in the arsenal, there was mostly longs being fired. Okay, so we did have some directional bias all day today, and that's encouraging. Because like I said, even if you're not using Holly to trade and trading her alerts, you can still garner a lot of information by just kind of observing what she's doing. Is she going long? Is she going short? It's telling you what trades are setting up. You know, are the longs working? Or are the shorts working? So, and another great example today was in Holly 2.0, which I thought was just incredible today, because we're gonna sort it now by risk off. I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up a little bit so we can really look at all these trades, and not only that, see the total trade count and everything. So this was 2.0 today, and guys, once again, risk off performing well. Okay, even though risk on was better. I want you to look at the histogram here. You know, you had, I mean, typically if you're going risk on, you're going to sit through more pain. Okay, naturally. Okay, it's how you know, you're not going to be rewarded on some of these great days where Holly, you know, blows away risk off by 4 or 5 times the amount. Usually when that happens, you're gonna experience some ebbs and flows. Okay. But it's real encouraging when I see risk off do this. Basically just, trend up. And even though, the market really over the last couple of hours didn't do a whole lot. Actually y'all let me know if you lose my thing again. I hope it's not this, I think it looks like my wife got on my screen and it somehow got my notifications going. But so anyway, getting back to what I was talking about, this, once again, this is encouraging. It's telling me that Holly's exits are doing pretty good. Whether it's reduced risk, profit save. Here's a great example of a profit save at 850. You can see the exit up here. Okay, she gets out for profit save, and of course the market, and then it pulls back down and goes below the entry price at one point. That's good. She's getting out in a timely fashion when I see that. This one did keep going, and this is the reason why risk off, paid a whole lot. But you can still, at the time when Holly got out, it was a timed exit, but still, you had to pull back. Once again, this is where those who want to go risk off, they can be rewarded, but sometimes you have to sit through some pullbacks and some pain. And it's a hard game to play, and once again, I know you get tired of hearing this, but this is where you maybe, you can bang out some, sell half, hang on to the rest, and let it ride. And who knows, looking at this daily chart, maybe it rides up to here. Maybe you don't even want to day trade it. Maybe you want to try to take it and see if it can make it up to that point. But let's take, so I thought this histogram, it was just beautiful to me because there was a lot of no pain trades in here. In other words, you got in, look at this pullback right here. You got in, it immediately bounced and went higher. UNG, I know this is an ETF, but look at that little range break, no pain trade, scalped out. It's a small stock, but only 13 cents there. In TLA, there's another one. No pain trade, just moved higher. There's another one, even though, it did come back, if you're in risk off, you got out, took your 50 cents. And look on the risk, look on the downside. But you got 26 cents on risk off. That's the beautiful. I mean, if you have a strategy like this, you are going to make money. You're going to make a lot of good money over time. All right, let's take a look at Holly Grail. Now, I think Holly Grail was a little more, but once again, look at that risk off. There's nothing wrong with that. That is just beautiful. Very little drawdowns at all. A little move right there, but for the most part, just kind of grinding higher, up about 160, hanging out in that 150, 160 range. That is good. Of course, we had a nice target hit. That always helps when you get into a stock and your target hits pretty quick. But once again, the risk off profits far better than the risk, off losses. And we had a really nice float on. Man, look here, she got out for profit save, okay? She had a nice move, okay? Gave back a certain percent. We have an algo that figures this out for you, and she's constantly learning from this, okay? She got out for a 60-cent winner, which is not bad for a $21 stock, profit save. And, look at that, came all the way down pretty much to the buy target. So once again, if you're gonna go risk on, you're gonna have to stomach some pain. So you might wanna get in that habit, selling half, and then maybe letting the rest ride. That way you can participate in these big moves. Because guys, I've said it in here several times, and I'm gonna say it again, all right? You can make some money scalping. I'll tell you, I did it for years. But if you really want to start making the good money, the big money, you're going to have to learn to sit through these moves. Okay, the great traders I know, they're not in and out in 30 minutes. They're in and out in 3 to 4 hours, and they play these all-day moves. And there's a lot of pikers out there. For a long time, I was one of the best, but I'm telling you, you have to learn, to hold on, let these trades work for you, and quit jumping in for a 10 to 15 cent move and then bailing out. But all right, so that's it. And just for those who are in here for the first time, let me explain. I probably should have done this before I started, the difference between risk off and risk on. Okay, risk off is, and you probably were able to decipher it just by how I was talking and presenting this, but risk off is taking all of Holly's exits, whatever her exit, timed exit, profit save, target hit, stop hit, whatever she does, you're getting out for that reason. That is your risk off tally, okay? Risk on simply takes the trade all the way to the closing price, and that's your risk on tally. And today, you know, I thought, well, here's a case of Holly Grail where risk on was lower. And there you go. There's your, you know, volatility. NEO is the same way. Let's go take a look at NEO. This will be our last one to look at, and then we'll move on. Still, look at this. This is beautiful. Risk off. Look at all these nice alerts and right here, and the profit you made in risk off versus 3 stop hits, 25 cents, 75 cents, but look at all the green in risk off. Risk on, not too far behind, $2, but $2.26 just by jumping in and out with Holly. So it's, you know, it's I'm not going to tell you, you know, which side to take. I hate people that try to say, oh, it's a risk off day, it's a risk on day. To me, it's more the individual stock. You know, I like to look at a chart and see where it is in the chart, on the daily chart, and where my support and resistance is, and other things like what the market's doing, what its peers are doing, and then I get a better idea of which stock I want to go risk on versus risk off. For example, a short. I mean, you know, maybe, by the way, look, all 3 of these shorts actually made money, even in this environment. So that's pretty good, risk off. But if you are short, okay, the point I was trying to make, and you have some nice profits, and the market is, look over there, and it continues to go up, you know, maybe you want to go risk off. Maybe on this trade, I don't want to go risk on. I'm going to get out because the market's going straight up against me. So this is where you have to use your experience and expertise as a trader to decide on each stock whether you want to go risk on or risk off. I don't like to, you know, package them all up into one box, because I don't think you can do that. There's too many different variables that can affect each trade. All right, so let's move on. If you guys have any questions about Holly, anybody in here for the first time that are confused about, you know, anything, just fire away. I'd love to answer it. But I'm not. If you don't ask me a question, I won't know. Yeah, yes, friend. At this point, my wife, yeah, she knows who Holly is. Okay, Satish says, Holly trades automatically or just generate the alerts? Very good question. For right now, all Holly does, it generates ideas in real time. So you are getting these alerts in real time. When these alerts go off, okay, let's pull up one. As soon as it goes off, it's accompanied with a target and a stop. So you know exactly what Holly's parameters are, okay? She may get out for a profit save. You know, there's one you don't see on here called reduce risk, where if something's going against her, she'll get out maybe more quickly than the timed exit because it's not doing what she thought. But to answer your question, right now it's just alerts, and you as a discretionary trader have to decide if you want to trade it or not. Okay. Now, automation is coming, and like I said, I've learned a long time ago not to make ETAs around here, but it is coming, and you know, I'm hoping it's soon, but I know we're working on it diligently, so we'll have to see. But for right now, all you can do is, you know, the good thing about it is we got it now where when a trade fires off, we have 3 Hollies. Okay, when one fires off, it flashes up here in yellow. So now you can see it and easily toggle down here between the three. So if you see something go off in Grail, you immediately pull it up. It's going to be the top one as long as you have it sorted by entry time. It's going to flash yellow for you. And so you're able to see these rather quickly. So it's just a point and a click away for you now. But yes, the plan is to have this into automation soon. Okay, Perry asks, how long is long and how short is short? I'm not sure, Perry, what you mean. Referring to what, Perry? You have. Okay, no problem. Any plans to make sound alert for new trades with Holly? Waleed, a very good question. I've also recommended that. As a matter of fact, I told him the idea about making it light up and do something so people can get a visual. Probably not, because it would probably good question. I think everything's kind of built into the window interface right now as far as alerts go, so that would require probably a lot more work than you would think it would. But yeah, I will definitely request that. And once again, Waleed, you know the drill. Everything helps more if you request it. So that would be a great feature request to send to, Trade Ideas, info@tradeIdeas.com. Oh yes, Perry. Long is basically meaning that you buy the stock. Short meaning is short selling the stock, basically selling the stock without owning it. That's a whole nother topic that you could come to our Friday session and we can go into that for you for sure. But yeah, long, when you see a long or a short in here, this is just basically meaning you're buying the stock. In this case, it's just an alert. So it's assuming that this is a buy and assuming that this is a sell, a short sell. But that's how that works, Perry. Does Holly look at the entire universe of stocks, or can it be adjusted to certain? Yes, it looks at the entire universe of stocks, but remember, Holly, these are strategies right here, and she has about 50 plus in her hopper, we call it, and basically, so right now she is going over each one of these strategies and back testing and optimizing over and over again on so many different scenarios that it would blow our minds. Now we have filter sets, and if for any reason Holly wants to exclude stocks, it would be based upon the price range or the average daily volume, some things like that. She won't exclude symbols, but she will backtest and optimize based upon a stock's average daily volume, the price range, and things like that. So some symbols can definitely get excluded. But to answer your question, yes, she's looking at the universe of over 8,000 stocks on the 4 major exchanges. All right. And let me see, get caught up here. Can you go over risk on, risk off again? Sure. Yes, Michael. Basically, to put it in simple terms, I mean, the reason we created the risk, first everything was risk off. And the reason we made it risk on is to give you an idea. If you were to hold on to your trades, how much profit would you have by the end of the day? Because many traders, they'll be in a trade and they'll get out and they'll never look at it again. Well, what we wanted to do is give you a simple column here that you can use, and also a histogram that if you were to hold on to this trade till the end of the day, like this PYX, you would have made $2 versus 60 cents. So now this exit reason right here was profit save. So this alert right here had a nice run in it. She is programmed, once she starts to give back some of those profits, to get out for profit save. In other words, we do not want this to turn into a loss after having some nice profits. So if she gets out for a profit save, that's risk off. That was her reason. That was her risk off profit. Now, Very simple on the risk on. It's basically saying you just hold the trade all the way to the last print of the day. It's just a way for us to tally so you can, you can decide, it'll help you as a trader. If, in other words, if you look at some of these, you're going to find out over time that if you would have held on to that trade longer, you'd have done very well. So we wanted to give you an easy way for you to basically track that profit. You're welcome, Michael. All right, well, good. I'm glad we had lots of questions. I wanted to spend some time on Holly today. It was a great day for Holly. It was decent in the marketplace too, obviously. I'm not going to argue there, but sometimes when we have a gap up, usually it's a bigger gap than what we saw today. Today was a very tiny gap, so that's why I think Holly did so well. But if we have sometimes a percentage gap up or something like that, it makes it hard on the strategies because a lot of them are set up on daily time frame. So we're looking for daily setups, and obviously a lot of times when you have a percent gap or a percent gap down, it can mess up those daily setups. All right, so let's move on here, and this is, I'm sure, well, all of you guys who have been here a while know all about our composite rating. This is what we call the score. If you look at there, you'll see a column called stock composite. And this is our score for, yes, Carlos. Okay, I'm still getting questions. All right, Carlos, yes. Remember how I said as soon as she fires off a alert, boom, she puts a stop down there. So you know exactly where the exit is, a stop price. Other than that, you have a timed exit, and you can pull this up on time until next exit. So you can pull a column up and this will tick down for you. So maybe it's 30 minutes, or these obviously all exited, so it's telling me when they exited now. But as the clock is running down, these count down with you. So there is a stop, and there's a time exit, and there's obviously other exit reasons I've talked about, like profit save. Okay, but she does suggest an exit price. Yes, Satish, send that to info@trade-ideas.com. We have some material we can give you on our some of the metrics. That's info@trade-ideas.com. All right, so let's get back over here and look at the composite rating. So I created this to, well, I shouldn't say I created it, with some help with some other guys, definitely doing the custom formulas and things like this. But it's a way to look at a stock's symbol score and kind of get a good feel of how it is holding up both technically and fundamentally. And I'm not going to go too much into the score because I want to talk about how you can basically flip this upside down and I'll get to that in just a minute, Liz, and get stocks that are not looking all that great. In other words, they look bad on the charts. Their fundamentals are not that good, and so the way to do that is just take a look at this top list that I built here. This is for composite rating, or let's call it score, greater than 90. All right. I simply put in here stocks over $5, stock composite rating of at least 90. So I'm not getting anything in here below 90 if it has a score below 90. And then I want a average daily volume filter of at least 300,000 in mind. You don't have to include that, but I like stocks that are at least somewhat tradable. So you can see here, I can click through a lot of these charts in here, and you're going to see some really good looking charts. And if you look closely and dig into them, you're going to see some pretty good fundamentals in these as well. So what I wanted to do, and just to kind of give you an idea, there's over 15 metrics in here, right? Mostly technical, but there's some really decent, good and fundamental stuff in there as well. So if it's looking bad on the technical level, in other words, below all its major moving averages, below certain ranges. I can't give up too information in here, but and also has some bad fundamentals. It's going to have a pretty low score. Now, our lowest score that you can have is 30. Okay, I structured this between 30 and 100 because I just didn't want it. It's too big of a range to have zeros and fives and 10. I wanted to give it a base score of 30. So let's do that. Well, I've already created it, so I'm just gonna pull it up for you here. All right, so I called it score below 50. All right, let's take a look at the configuration of this one now. Really only changing one metric, one parameter here. We're changing this minimum over here to 90 to putting a max of 50. So what we have now is histogram. Where is my, I guess it's not going to show me, may not have that built in yet. Okay, well basically without doing that, it's going to show me, let me go to the summary. There we go. Stocks where the value is no more than 50. So basically the score has to be below 50 for it to appear in this window. One thing I did add it because I noticed I was getting a lot of funky stocks in there. I added this EPS formula, which is basically just a hack to make sure these companies are reporting earnings. And Liz, this is why I was holding this off to your question. You may want to add this because I found I was getting some pretty weird stuff in here. To answer your question, I think theoretically, if they do not have earnings, they're not going to get points for earnings. That's the way I structured this. You get so many points for certain earnings. So obviously if you don't have any earnings, you're not going to receive any points for it. You're not going to get anything taken off, but it's not going to increase your score any. So let's take a look at what we have here. All right, so what we're going to find here, you can see a position in your range. You're going to see a lot of this, obviously, okay, because these stocks, these are the lowest rated stocks in the 4 major exchanges, okay? When I say 4 major exchanges, for those of you who are maybe in here kicking your tire, you're asking, how do I know that? Because we get to choose our exchanges. And for the most part, most people choose the 4 major exchanges in the United States. Good question, David. I would say not. He asked if ETFs report short interest. I don't think so. I may be wrong, but I know that number is there's a number for it. There's a data point, but I just don't know if it's reported. Okay, let's take a look, guys. I mean, these are scores now. Let's see. Let me make sure I get the lowest up here. Okay, there we go. These are going to be some pretty low ones. You get down to 38, it's going to be pretty low. Now, for whatever reason, we don't have anything, just falling off a cliff. I'm sure there's probably some out there, but for some reason, yeah, there's some points being awarded to some of these stocks, and I can't go into why they're being awarded. I got an idea by looking at some of these charts, but for the most part, these are charts. You can see this X-ray, gap down, trading here, all lifetime lows. No, there's lifetimes trading near year range lows, right at it. CGE, look at the CLMT. This is trading near 52-week lows and is trading near all-time lows right there. So that one, to me, if I was, a short seller and I'm looking at this and I'm telling myself, wow, if it breaks this range down here, this, basically a 2-month low, it could go to all-time lows. I will say this: shorting is it's a tough game right now. I don't care what you're shorting. I mean, there's always something out there that you can short, but hold on just one sec. All right. But hey, this is a good idea. When the tape, it's always nice to be prepared when the tape turns, and this is a great way to do it. Just keep an eye. Have this maybe up when the market starts to break down. Maybe we start getting below some major moving averages in the major indexes. Maybe have something like this just in your cloud, so where you can pull up and maybe look for some just god awful charts like this, that are just trying to break, and it could really benefit you. When going long and buying the dip stops working, this is something that would be good to have. Yes, Waleed, I will share this with you. I sure will. So, and also I added a column in this one. It's called change from 8-day moving average. So sometimes if you're looking for a stock that may be trading, you can find some ones that are trading near the 8-period moving average like this, where this is a 10-period I have on my chart, but you can see where it could come down and force the action lower. So you can always do that, and maybe you can sort and then find the ones that are right around zero. Gosh, is that really eBay? eBay, you've been struggling now, buddy. Some of the mighty have fallen. That's probably the best example. Tap, Mill Brewery. There you go. Bounced right into its 10-period, but you can use the 8-day in our software. All right, since I already have it up over here, let me just go and share it from here so I don't have to create another one in my cloud. Copy all. And okay, I did not, it's going to be the only cloud link in there. I didn't label it, guys, but that will give you quick access if you don't want to take the time. You are welcome, Waleed. Mike, what data feed are we using? Well, we have different data feeds. Are you talking about for certain like short interest and things like that? Or are you talking about data from the exchanges? In general, yeah, I think we use different type. I think now for most of our data for like short interest and institutional percentages and float and things like that, we're using Edgar Online. And all right, I'm seeing if I missed anything. Just bear with me here. Okay, answered that. All right, looks like I'm all caught up, and really we're getting close to, it went a little bit longer than I thought, actually. My throat's trying to give out on me, but you're welcome, Wally. You're welcome, Bill. Appreciate it. But I wanted to give a good explanation today of Holly and tell you how to kind of keep an eye, on that risk on and risk off, and use it to judge for yourself, when it comes to trading those symbols. There's more to it than just going in and saying, oh, let's see, I'm going to go risk off because Holly's telling me, it's all winning right now. But just like the slide said, machine, with man and machine. But okay, let's see. I don't think I had anything else. No, I didn't. And I'm going to pass on any chart requests today because, like I said, I'm kind of losing my voice over here. But Scott, I'm going to bring you in. You guys who are out here kicking the tires, hang on. Scott does have a discount code for you. So Scott, if you want to come back in.
Sure, thanks, Andy.
All right, you bet.
Yeah, let's talk about some items on the way out. Thanks all for attending. There's a podcast that we have. We put out new episodes every week. Make sure you're subscribed so you get the new ones. Go to just search for Trade Ideas Podcast in the apps that you use to listen to podcasts and add us as a subscription. Then you can check out the newest episodes. You're ready to get the next one. Check out the archives, listen to some of the old ones. We also have an ebook out that's been very timely ever since it launched in February. So just go to trade-ideas.com/ebook if you haven't gotten it yet. Andy contributed a chapter or two, and so did the other guys that are normally in our webinar panels, Steve and Andy and Sean and Jamie. It's 5 ways to win in a post-BTFD market. So it's really easy to get. Just plug your email into the page/ebook and get the download link. to your email. We have an event coming up. There's a few tickets left. Go to TradeIdeasEvent.com. If you can make it to San Diego on October 20th, we'd like to see you there. There's, I think there's maybe 10 seats left, so act fast if you want to come. And if you do get a ticket, you'll get a code to use at the hotel where most of the people are staying, which is around the corner from where the event is, the Kimpton Hotel Palomar. And the event is on the 34th floor of the San Diego Symphony Towers, a commanding view of the whole area and the bay, and it's a great venue. And we've got Dr. Brett Steinbarger, Brian Shannon, J.C. Parrots as the main speakers, and we've also got several other speakers and a panel or two that are going to be there. So check out TradeIdeasEvent.com. We'll also have some registration links up later on this week for a live stream where you can watch some of it live or most of it live on YouTube, and then be some of the first people to get the links to the videos after we have those up. And we have a discount code that's available this month, September days, all caps. Remember, it's case sensitive, and that lets you start off any subscription with 15% off. You can also use this to upgrade from standard to premium. Just plug that in after you log in off of our homepage and go to the Change My Account section of the account management area and plug that code in when you're doing it, and you save. Thanks all for attending. We have info@trade-ideas.com is the email address that goes to our help desk. So if you have any questions, that's where to send that. And follow us on Twitter at Trade Ideas and at Today Trader and at QuantBot and some other handles. Our page on Facebook is /TradeIdeasPro. So like that page to get some updates there and share them with your friends. Thank you, Andy, and thanks everyone for attending.
Thanks, everyone. I'm sorry about the trade of the week. Didn't go over that, but it did not trigger, so there wasn't a whole lot to say about that. But it was Echo ECHO if you want to take a look at it. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.